I'm trying to do my report. Ow! Ow! Oh, geez, thorns. I wanted to get this pretty bush here, but it's like, just, it's... Okay, so this is a perfect example. All right, let's leave a little plastic, Zazoo Plazz. June 11th, 2023. So, I'm here in the woods. 12:30 at night. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to do here. See, this is a perfect example of what I want to do. See, get the light over here. Maybe if we put the light up this way, how would that work? I put the light up like this, and I said, okay, I want both things here. I want to show these beautiful flowers in the background. Oh, that'll work. Oh, but then I have this thing. Maybe if I could just stick this thing through here, just for the moment. Oh, that'll work. Oh, look at that. See? I'm just gonna toss you in like that. Yay! Yay! All right. See what I did there? Okay. So we have this. Oh no, I got like thorns here. So I wonder if I can go a little higher. Zazoo Plazz report. June 11th, 2023. That's better. Look at these beautiful blooms over here I have at night. This is great. It's Strawberry Fest weekend. And I just took out my strawberry shirt for the summer. Hopefully nobody comes upon me here. So look. I got beautiful flowers in the middle of the night, 12:30. But there's like these wicked weeds. See, they're like trying to encroach on me, and I got like little prickly things in my hand. So we'll get through this. How's everybody doing? Zazoo Plazz report for June 11th, 12th actually now, but let's call it the 11th because I wrote this on the 11th. Well, I wrote this at midnight before I came out here. Wow. So I guess the theme of the day, well, as I always do, I have a song, and then, oh, that moth followed me out here. I was writing up my notes in my office, dining room office, and I always start with the readings for the week, the scriptures, because I was raised Catholic, and you know how that works. It's kind of like my first floor. You know, if you got a building and I got 6 floors, the first floor, you know, for me is always, you know, what I was raised with, which is, you know, the Bible. I'm not thumping it or anything. I use it very lightly, like a springboard, you know, like you're going to go into the pool and you got something, you need a little something, whether it's, I read Eastern philosophy. I read all kinds of stuff. I have little books by my bed, and I'll just pick up a book, you know, in the morning. Little books. Stuart Wilde is another one of my favorite ones, and just something to get the day going, you know. And wherever I open it, that's the theme, you know. So I read something today in my little, I think it's Lao Tzu, little book my mom gave me, and it said something about someone who's great, who wants to conquer the meek, becomes meek, you know, and someone who's meek, you know, goes low. You go, you know, low, stays meek, does not try to, you know, rise out of it, like overpower a greater, you know. In other words, you've got to. You know, it's about humility, I guess, you know, and it's you know, so the theme I picked up on the theme this morning was kind of like about, you know, war and power and overcoming challenges and things like that. So you know, talking about like divine cheerleaders are, yay, rah rah. I was a cheerleader in middle school, actually. Yeah, I was a St. Christopher's cheerleader for the basketball team when I was in 8th grade. I forgot about that, but yeah, our colors were maroon and gold. that was our parish school that I went to from 5th through 8th grade, and back in the late 70s. So I started at 76, 5 in the fall, 75, and I was 8th grade class of 79. Then I went to a Catholic high school. But yeah, so I was a middle school cheerleader, and I was pretty good. We used to do like pyramids, like the bigger girls got in the bottom, and I was always kind of in the middle. I was like one of the middle ones, and then the tiny girls would get up on the top. So we'd make like a pyramid. So that was pretty cool. And we'd learn cheers and things like that. See, I couldn't have made it in high school because, well, one, I was too busy, and two, I couldn't do a cartwheel to save my life. Anytime I had to get inverted, my legs kind of wanted to do one thing, and my top of my body wanted to do something else. So I'd be like going one way and going the other way, and I thought, but when I was doing it, I thought, how you have those memes where you think you look like this, and this is what you really look like doing hip hop in your kitchen. Never mind. Anyway, so that was not a thing, and I also tried the baton twirling thing because I had a friend who was like the head of the baton thing. That was a dangerous undertaking. I could still hear the screams. Ring! That is one sport. It was fine like twirling, but the minute I tossed it up, it was like playing the Wii with my boys. My youngest son, a lot of humor coming out today. He used to like to play bowling on the Wii, when the kids were young. That was the thing, right? The Wii. And so you would take it, and you're supposed to like go forward with the ball. But if you went backwards instead and threw the ball, all the spectators in the stand would go, ah! So he was a little guy, and so that was his thing. He used to, he'd bowl, but every now and then he'd have to bowl it, back into the audience to get a little, and he'd crack up and then, carry on. Because, so it's hard to play with somebody like that because, but, this is all the flavor of what I wanted to talk to today. People think God and working on your, becoming a better person, I think needs an image overall because, it's fun. We should, I think the number one thing not wrong, but if we could change one thing in the world, I would say play more. People need to laugh and play and have play breaks. And our poor kids, some find it easier than others, but we certainly had, I was a serious kid. I was achievement oriented, pretty self-motivated, but, work was fun for me. And I took lots of play breaks during the day. I played a lot, and I still play a lot. I have toys in my office. I have that one with the little wheelie thing, and years ago I went out to we have this colonial village near us in Massachusetts called Sturbridge Village. And they have all these old, you can get the penny candy out there, and it's like a late 1800s kind of, village. You go and you feel like you step back in time into the 1800s. So our kids went to school. We took them when they were small, and then they went with their school, and the moms went, and, it's a thing. I don't know if they still go, but, the kids have a lot of fun. And then they always end up in the gift shop, we're buying those little toys and, the kind. And, but I'm the biggest kid of all. I'm like a bigger kid than my kids were. Because I find it very easy to get into play mode. And, maybe it's because we're in Gemini season. And if you think about Geminis like to play, but they're very impatient. They want, you know, they want to keep moving, right? So that's the kind of energy we're dealing with. So, you know, I think that with the readings today, it starts out with a reading from Saint Paul to the Corinthians. So it's Saint Paul. He's writing. If he were around today, he'd be on Facebook trying to, he'd have like a Facebook page, and he's trying to encourage. He's trying to, like a coach talking to the team, doing a pep talk, or the troops, a leader trying to bolster the troops before going into battle or something, or even in a corporate setting, right? You have someone who's a leader in a department, and you're trying to get your team, I remember being editor of my newspaper, and high school newspaper, and literary magazine, and you'd want to get people excited, but say, look, it's not easy. We've got this challenge ahead of us. We've got to put out this newspaper. We've got this battle. We've got this big game, and instead of saying, oh, it's gonna be, saying, you got this. That's what he's saying. He's saying to the people of Corinth, he's saying, yeah, we've all got, we've got stuff to do. We've got challenges to overcome, but that's life. But somebody's got your back, So it's like divine cheerleaders. We all have a little team of whoever you perceive them to be. Your ancestors, your loved ones, somebody up there. Angels, of course. We all have guardian angels, archangels, walking, and sometimes the team kind of changes up a little, depending on what you're facing. You might get, and I've studied for a while all the different angels, and they all have different energies. They have specialties, like the saints. I always thought Saint Jude was. Who was the one who was the patron of lost causes? That's one my mother used to pray to. I think it was St. Jude, because when she passed away, she took, she wanted donations sent to St. Jude Children's Hospital, because that was a charity close to her heart. And so I'm leading up to what's happening in my life here. This past week, I mentioned, my Aunt Georgia, who I write about in the book. Her name wasn't Georgia, it's actually Audrey. My dad's older sister, by a few years, passed away this week. And, I've been hearing from cousins and, talking to different relatives. And she was 90, almost 91. She would have been 91 in August. So she lived a good, full life. And her husband, who's over 100, is, survived her. He's well and still kicking around, and which is, I think that's probably going to be more the case in the future. People living, natural to live over 100. So yeah, I mean that's, sad. We lost her this week. And so I've been, looking at pictures and remembering her in my own way, and sending, and seeing a lot of moths. I think she's around me, because that first day after she passed, this huge moth came and sat in it was fluttering around. It was going all my different lights, and I tried to shoo it out the door. It would not leave me. And there's another one. So, I think maybe she's found a way to get herself into a moth. So maybe, like with my mom, my younger son and I, we saw hummingbirds. Like when your mother, when my mom passed, there were hummingbirds, and it was obvious. With an aunt, maybe it's, just a moth. But she was an important person in my life, and she'll always show up in stories, because the last time I talked to her, I'll always remember, she called me up a few months ago, and it's kind of like the soul knows when it's winding down. I did some videos. If you go back to my 2020 videos, I helped her clean out her house. It was during the pandemic, and I brought her a copy of my Zazoo Plazz book, which she read, and because there were stories about her mom, my granny, in there. That's her mother, and so she also, several times that I visited, she gave me some bags of things. She gave me, among other things, um, like bean sprout makers and catalogs, and she used to order things from catalogs, and she was very good, religious Catholic, and so and she liked clothes, and she liked to play her organ. So a couple months ago, she called me on my birthday, but then she called out of the blue and she said, Leslie, if anything happens to me, make sure that you find a home for my organ. Not her organs, but her, Hammond organ. Or I don't know if it's a Hammond, but she played the organ, and in the book I write about that. I grew up playing the organ. My mom and dad played, my cousins played. Well, after I played, my mom got my cousins into it, apparently. But we all played. It was a thing. Everybody had an organ, and we had a big organ. And she had one too. And even in her years, she would play it, She was a very strong, feisty lady. Raised 3 kids, single mom, working, and she's just great, strong personality, but very, dramatic. She used to, be in, she loved to be dancing and putting on plays. And so, I even recognized her in one of the reels on the Gen X, shout out to Gen X channel. He posted this, and it was late. He posted it a Mother's Day thing, and it was Mr. T with these 3 moms in the background doing a dance. And the one on the left looked just like my Aunt Audrey did back in the 80s, the hair, the dress was the same, and the other ladies are going this way and she's going that way, and it was funny. It was just, but it was like, kind of like her personality, she had 3 husbands, she was, social and active, very, very, very smart, very talented lady. So, the women in my family are forces to be reckoned with. So I'm just going to leave that there. But so anyway, she's the one I named Georgia in my book. I think I'm going to keep the fake names because it's kind of like I do this hybrid. I do sort of like a wax museum thing in Zazoo Plazz. There are people, if you've been in my life, you're going to be in my wax museum. But instead of wax, it's going to be in books. And then, I bring them to life. I bring the characters because the people in your life, right? They are characters in the movie that you've chosen to live, right? This is your little play. This is your little, thing. I got caught walking at 3 in the morning the other day. I'm getting to know all the officers who patrol the school lot. He's like, oh, I knew, I didn't know. I said, well, I walk at night, so now you know who I am. I'm getting so gutsy in my 50s. I never would have done that in my 40s. Yeah, get out of here. So this is where the humor comes from. Joan Rivers knew that. Joan Rivers she turned 90, would have turned 90 this week. So, oh, I haven't gotten to the song yet. So, yeah, so it's like, Jesus goes up the mountain. Remember those? I used to teach the kids this when I taught CCD, the Beatitudes. They had to, memorize the blessed are the meek, blessed are the, for they'll inherit the land, blessed are they who mourn, blessed are they who, hunger and thirst for righteousness and all that. We had to know them by heart. Well, I didn't know them, but I kind of, the kids had to know what they meant. So I thought, oh, that's perfect. It's perfect for the week. So, the artist came to my mind. I said, angel in camps. There's something about an angel in camp. and the divine cheerleaders. So, oh, so St. Paul was saying, okay, yeah, so we've all got challenges, right? But he said, we all have encouragement. We all have, you know, in other words, we'll be right behind you, where this is leading. So I'll be right behind you. Everybody wants to rule now. Tears or fears. Everybody wants to rule the world. Released on March 22nd, 1985. Great, timeless, dreamy pop song. It was called. I'll post the wiki notes on this, but it was called the mid '80s zeitgeist, a meditation on the corruption and economic corruption and spiritual corruption of the mid '80s, the Reagan, Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher era, appealing to the youth of the Reagan era. And back then, when they said the walls are coming down, we thought, something about when the walls come down, holding hands and I'll be right behind you. Okay, so that's my that sad. It's so sad they had to fade it. Fade, like fade out. And this is perfect for the week. I'm sad my aunt had to die. So sad. But she, we almost made it. Just when you're in your 20s, when I heard this song, I was thinking, oh, we've almost made it, meaning I was smack in the middle of college. When this song hit #1 in June of '85, I was in Spain with a bunch of people, right? It was Tears for Fears year. That was, so blessed are the meek, the fearful, and they who mourn. Tears, right? Tears for fears. You get it? It's right there. It's right there in the song. I mean, it could be from the Beatitudes. Yeah. So that's a perfect song. I used to think it said, "Battling with a black-eyed vision," instead of married with a lack of vision. It's the actual verse. Married with a lack of vision. Married with a lack of vision. I don't know what that. But it's still, see, battling with a black-eyed vision. So somebody, I don't know. Somebody would kind of punching me in the face. And so, and I also thought it said, let's see, we've almost made it. I was 19 when this song came out. I thought almost making it would be, like we've almost made it through the semester. We've almost made it through college. This job, this day. Is it time to go home yet? I used to think it said, it's my own desire, but it's my own design. So that's different from my 20s. Look at the lyrics of the songs that you came out when you're in your teens, 20s, and compare what you thought the words were to what the words actually were. So it's my own design. In other words, you create your life. You're this whole thing all along. It's what do you hunger and thirst for? It says, taste and see the goodness of the Lord. How do you hunger and what do you? Okay, so everybody wants to rule the world. That's what some people hunger for power. They hunger and thirst for or for justice, right? What's your version of ruling the world? Ruling the world could just mean having peace, ruling your world. In other words, living the life that you want to work, designing the life that you want. This doesn't have to, it was written as sort of, political statement, I suppose, but it's a happy pop dancey kind of song. You can, hum in the dun, 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 when you're folding your laundry and driving in the car. But it's timeless because, it can kind of grow with you, right? So, yeah, can I relate to um, June 8th, 85? It hit number one. Yep. Can I relate to how it felt to be in the mid 80s and hear this song? Yes, I lived that. You know, if you were born in the 80s, that's part of your infrastructure. But if you were 19 in the 80s, that's a different feel from being 30 in the 80s. So I want to just put this out there. It's your own design. In other words, we come here pre-designed, like when you order, I got an uncle, he orders his custom Corvette, right? And he loves it. But it's kind of like that. You come here, you got it all your, design. You've been designed. Something's. So it's my own design. It's, one headline, why believe it? In other words, power, the constant, trying to lord power over people who are, to have people under you, people, doing what you want them to do in various ways, and the misery that comes from that. That's pretty much what the song's about. But you can relate it to your own personal journey, right? It challenges. People are going to want to punch you, give you a plaque. I don't know where that came from. But, there's things on your path that are going to challenge you. And that's how you grow, right? Tears for fears. There's sometimes you have happy tears, And yeah, sometimes there are fears, but some of them are good because they keep you from like doing stupid stuff like we did in the 80s. Like, getting our hair, putting too much hairspray or inhaling, things that we shouldn't, eating things that we shouldn't. We all do things we shouldn't. But God is good, so God's source, universe is good, and the more you think that way, you just keep in mind that whatever tears and fears you have, whether it's being meek, fearful, mourning, losing something, thirsting for justice, thirsting for, a better life, whatever that means. Also know that you'll be blessed. You'll be blessed, you'll be encouraged along the way, right? And you've got that waiting for you, right? So the more you can kind of, shoulder your, put your backpack on and, just know that you're never alone, and you're scoring up, you've got points, right? When you're playing a video game like my kids, you got points. They used to play the Minecraft, and they'd get things, or Webkins, or Toontown, or whatever. They would earn points right? And they'd have to beat up this guy or that guy, or, build this, or go here, or go there. But then they were racking up points, and they got real good at it so that they knew what to do to get the points, right? And sometimes they'd die, and then they'd have to come back, not literally, but, in the game. So, you can't take it too far. But it's kind of like that thing where when you go and do good stuff in the world, you shore up points. You get useful stuff that you can then put toward your future, which is happy. So, anyway. For freedom and for pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. But these flowers are here now, and I'm enjoying them. And this stupid weed got it pinned back long enough to do my report. So I made minestrone last night. So I'm going to go and have the rest of this huge weed sticking out of the flowers. So enjoy the flowers and the weeds. And have a wonderful week. And I'll talk to you next week. Zazoo Plazz, signing out. Take care. Bye-bye.